We are live. So, hi everyone. Welcome to the Online Girl Boss TV. I'm Silvia Galati, and today we will talk about how to get unlimited traffic and how to do a presentation and transform your audience into paying buyers. So I'm here with a guest that I am a really huge fan of him, and it's Peng Joon. Hi, Peng. How are you?
I am so happy to be here, and I'm super excited to be sharing with your audience on how they can get unlimited traffic, present, and really master the skills, which I believe will make all the difference when it comes to online marketing.
Oh, that's great. You know, I'm really a huge fan of you because I meet you during the dinner of the Tacoma Club in Orlando. Do you remember? And I had the pleasure to see you on the stage at Funnel Hacking Live, and your presentation for me has been one of the most amazing during the event. So congratulations.
Thank you.
For all my audience, Peng Joon has built a 8-figure business online. He helps people around the world to create their business online based on their passion. He's an international speaker. He shared the stage with people like Tony Robbins, Richard Branson, Robert Kiyosaki, and so on. So that's amazing. So Peng Joon, the first thing that I want that you share with us is your story. Tell about your story. When did you start in this business? How did you start it?
Well, so for like a really long time, my entire life, I've always been this really shy, introverted kid. And I always just wanted to make some money on the side. I was broke. It's funny because it's like the typical story that we hear all the time, like, oh, this person was broke and he wanted to do something different. Well, that was my story. I wanted to do something different. I went online and I didn't know what to sell. So like I made my first ever ebook. It was a digital product based on a computer game that I played, World of Warcraft. Made my first sale there. And from there, I just scaled it. And that's how I made my first million. It was selling products in the computer game space. Okay. And from there, I realized that, what I did, which was monetizing what I knew back then from an interest, a hobby, was a very powerful skill. And I wanted to teach other people how to do it. So that's when I began, I think like 8 years back, teaching others how to do it as well.
Okay, that's cool. So let's talk a little bit about content. So I am studying in these days your book, and so with this formula, you can, how can I say, you can get 1 million of followers on the page, 100 million followers view, and so on. So it's a 9-step process. And I'd love that you tell about more about this formula and how we can apply it to, for example, to the affiliate marketing offer. You are an affiliate too, right?
So like for marketers, they've always been saying content is king, right? They always say things like, oh, you got to put content out there. And then when people go online and you see these like huge influencers, whether it's Gary Vee or Grant Cardone or Tony Robbins, they think that from looking what they do on a surface level, they think that it's about creating the videos. They think that it's about, going on YouTube or Facebook and putting content out there. When really what they don't see is that that's just the first part, which is putting out content. But a much more important part is actually monetizing. Now, if you take a look at all these different marketers, each different marketer might have a slightly different strategy. Like, and what the mistake many people make is they think that when they follow a influencer, they think that if I follow what the influencer is doing, I'll be able to get what the results the influencer is doing. So here's a couple of mistakes. Okay, first of all, most influencers are broke. I'm talking about like influencers on Instagram where they have like hundreds and thousands or millions of followers, and they monetize by like promoting a product placement, and that's horrible. That's like the most horrible way to make money off followings and engagements. right? By selling your brand, promoting somebody else's brand and business. So that's the wrong way. But they think that, oh, in order to be successful, and that's the problem, because many influencers need to show that they're successful as well in order to be doing that, right? That's when the brands will approach them. So that's a huge problem. Number two is when they start following influencers with huge following that is genuinely doing well. But the problem is these influencers they have an entire different business model that actually makes money from their content. So the example would be like Gary Vee. People think that, oh, in order to document what I'm doing, and if I follow what Gary Vee is doing with his videos, I'll be able to do well. Okay. Without realizing that thing is actually losing Gary Vee a lot of money. Like doing that thing, he has dozens of people just handling his social media, and he's losing money there because he can afford to do so when his Vayner Media is making hundreds of millions of dollars, and he's just going to put like 10 million into his personal brand. So it's a totally different business model altogether. So the question is, how do entrepreneurs like us, where we have to spend our own money, where on the 31st at the end of each month, we got to pay off our Visa, MasterCard bill. Okay. So the purpose of doing all these different videos and content, we need to understand that the reason for that is to get a bigger reach so that we can run ads to this reach. So it's very important to understand that the first purpose of creating content is to monetize, but you won't be able to monetize if you don't have anything to offer, if you don't have a funnel to begin with. Okay. So when people ask me this, they say like, what's the purpose of content marketing? What am I going to do with all these likes? And the truth is, this should not be your starting step if you don't even have a funnel in place, which means you don't even have, if you're not even selling anything, if you don't even have an offer yet, then that should be your priority right now. So that means your priority right now should not be podcasting or blogging or Facebook or Instagram or any of these things if you have not built a funnel. So how do you tell you've built a funnel? It would be to ask yourself, when you woke up this morning, whether you made any money while you were asleep. And if that didn't happen, that means you need to go back to the basics and build the funnel first before you start driving traffic through content.
Yeah.
That's basically the first step.
Okay, then I want to ask you, because I spent like yesterday and the other day before studying the steps. So on me is just the first step. So create the content. I am a little bit struggled because I don't know where to start to create the content. So, okay, you used like BuzzSumo to find deadlines and so on. But the videos, what do? You start like recording the video like this, or you have a script or a team that helps you? I don't know. Help me.
Great question. So I think what's really important is that there needs to be a good variety of understanding. Number one, your target market, what is the result they want to generate? I think it's so important to understand like what it is that they want. Now, the problem with understanding the result they generate, so let's say I teach people how to publish their book. So the result they want is to publish the book where they can pen their thoughts onto a piece of paper without going to writer's block, with minimal efforts, while understanding the publishing game, right? And minimizing risk. So all these different things. So I want to think about like, what is the result they want to generate? What's the thing they hate doing? And how can I make it so that my proposal to them is unique? Okay, so, but the problem with telling people the actual technique and strategy is this. People go on Facebook and social media not to learn the steps. And in fact, I've done a split test in multiple times on Facebook and social media where I talk about the specifics. So like, for example, I know like a lot of people follow me are entrepreneurs and they want to become better at Facebook. But if I went on Facebook and I said, here is how you set up a retargeting campaign, or if I said this, here you set up pixels, nobody's going to watch that because people go on social media for different reasons. So in other words, what will do well is if you focus on the broad topic first, and then after that, you niche it down. And that's what you want to be doing. And all of your viewers, all of your audience, if you're starting out right now It is to start your content broad so that when you run ads later on to these audiences, you can niche it down later. So if you are stuck right now in terms of thinking about topics, start with a broad topic because that's going to be easiest. And in fact, one of the safest ways to talk about anything is really personal development, mindset, attitude, creating their environment. And sometimes I think that when a person is creating content, it's very normal that we tell ourselves, but that sounds so basic, without realizing that 90% of the world, they're not in constant pursuit of personal development. And I think that's a very important factor to understand. So like you and me, we are used to being in an environment where we are reading the books, we're listening to the podcasts, we're attending the seminars, because we're in chase of that constant growth. But if you take a look at around us, in fact, just your personal circle of friends, ask yourself, like, how many people are crazy to constantly go to seminars, read the books, attend webinars, and watch all these different things? The answer is not many. So if you are thinking about content, the safest way is to really just think about personal development, growth, because that's what most people don't do.
Okay, perfect. So I will start from here. So another thing that I want to grab from you is about presentation. You are an international speaker. So I have also this one. I will be your best student ever. So basically, I run my own events in Italy. I will start also in other countries like Dubai, where I lived since some months. So in this book, Platform Closing, you talk about the structure that we have to use to create, how can I say, a presentation that allows you to create, how can I say, to transform your attendees in buyers. So can you explain a little bit some tips and strategies that we can use, like the structure, or I don't know? It's for you.
Okay. Perhaps I'll start off with like something that most people can resonate with, because most people might not understand this first, okay? It is to understand that whenever you want to sell something on any platform, whether it's a Facebook Live, whether it is a webinar, whether it's a live event, it is to understand that it's not about teaching the steps that will change their life. This is a concept that I never understood for a really long time. Because when I first started out, I was told by other speaking gurus that if you went out there and gave them great content, your audience will be able to make that informed decision and buy from you. And I know firsthand that that is one of the biggest myths out there after doing hundreds of live events, that thing does not work. Whereby if you went out there and just told them like, and teach, and then after that offer something, that doesn't work. And the example I like to use to illustrate this point is this, okay? Imagine that I am into the fitness industry and I wanted to teach people how to lose weight, for example. Okay, so this is an example everybody can relate to. So if I was in teaching mode, I would say things like, did you know that in order to lose weight, it's just about two things? It's about eating less carbs and exercising every day. Okay, so these two things, are they true? Yes, eat less carbs. It would probably be a pretty effective way to lose weight. So in other words, the first thing I would say if I wanted to teach would be, so did you know that in order to lose weight, you want to eat less carbs, which is like white rice and bread and pasta and noodles? And if you cut that out of your diet, you actually would be able to lose weight.
Yeah.
Now, just time out for 1 second, right? So if I said that, which is 100% true and effective, what most people don't think is whether it just created an objection. Now, most people, do you think it will create an objection? In their minds would be, okay, I don't know if I want to lose weight anymore now because I love my rice, I love my noodles, right? So I don't know if I want to do it now because, and without understanding, or without even realizing it, what the speaker effectively just did is the effect that the speaker disempowered the audience, even though he came from great intentions, and told them why they actually can't do it. Now, the reason why I gave this example is because this is the thing that separates the top speakers, presenters, and closers. This separates the top 0.1% with the other 99.9%, which is the ability to see if every single speaking point took them nearer to the sale or took them further away because they gave them an objection.
Okay.
So in order to create this framework, we need to understand that the top speakers, closers, presenters, everything they say and do is really answering objections. They answer objections through strategic teaching points, by storytelling, by doing all these different things that brings them one step closer to the sale.
Okay.
So teaching for the sake of teaching is what amateur speakers do. Because that's what I used to do. I thought, like, okay, I'm going to go up there, I'm going to give them so much great content that at the end of it all, they're going to buy. And that's why I failed so badly when I started. But one of the reasons why today, and I've done, hundreds and, a lot of it in front of the world's biggest stages, is because I understand this principle now. So as long as you follow this format, this template, this strategy, and I cover that in my book that you're holding just now, Platform Closing, that is the differentiator between the top 1% and everybody else.
Yes, so I really like your book because it's really simple. Also here you can find 4 different steps. So open, content, stack, close, very detailed. I really love it. And what I want to ask you, for example, in the open, you said you have to start like a universal question, the title, struggles. So give us some example.
Okay. So I believe that in every presentation, like you mentioned, it comes with 4 main important parts: how you open, how you deliver your content, how you deliver your stack, your offer, and finally how you close. So this first part, open, the reason why it's so crucial is because this is the part where you are most nervous, and this is when your audience is most judgmental and the most critical of you, right? So whether it's a webinar, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's live, it's the same thing. So how you get your first 5 minutes right is so crucial. It is so important. So a universal question is to get attention. The purpose of that is, you think about it, when a person goes on a webinar, in today's day, people have like 15 different tabs open, and in their mind, your tab is just one of the many 15 tabs open. So in their mind, it's like, why should I listen to you? Why should I give you my time? Same thing when a person is listening to you, whether it's on stage. If they came to the event and you're just one of the many speakers, in their mind, it's like, I don't know if this speaker is going to waste my time. So one of the things you want to do to get the room's attention, whether it's online and offline, is by asking a question that you know they will say yes to, right? So like, it's a question like, how many of you would like to be able to get more sales this year, right? You know that, and of course, if it's a sales event, everybody will raise their hand, right? How many of you would like to be able to live your fittest life year this year, 2018 ever? And then if it's a fitness expo, then that's when you get 100% to raise your hand. So once you get your attention, and again, the format I talk about in the book, but that's when you talk about your story, which is basically your struggles and your success. And I believe that that is basically the key to every great open. Well, that's like the 3-minute version of it. Of course, the full one would be like a lot longer, but that's the gist,
Okay, perfect. Then the content, you speak about the 3 secrets. So the vehicle, the internal and external needs. So explain us better. I will grab all your secrets today. You know it.
So like these 3 things, and it could be 5, is what I talked about earlier, which is the differentiator between average and world class. It is understanding that your content is about answering specific objections. Objections about what? Objections about your vehicle, like the opportunity you're presenting them. So it's like, let's say it could be anything. Let's say it's Bitcoin, right? So if I wanted to sell my opportunity or the vehicle, which is like investing in Bitcoin, I'm first going to write down every single objection people might have about Bitcoin. Like, oh, I thought Bitcoin peaked in December 2017, right? So why should I go into Bitcoin now? I'll probably miss the boat. So if you know that's an objection, that needs to be in your teaching point. So it would be like, why now is the time to get back into Bitcoin, even though it peaked in the past? So maybe your argument is because it's peaked, these charts show that it's going to peak again, whatever it is. But basically, my point here is to understand what is their main objections about the opportunity that you're presenting to them. And you need to make sure your presentation answers that objection. Number two is basically their objections about their insecurities. And this is probably the biggest one of them all. They might believe in your vehicle, in your opportunity, but they might not believe in their own ability to execute it. So that's when they tell themselves, but I'm too old, I'm too young, I don't have the time, I don't have the capital, I don't have all these different things. So you need to make sure that in your presentation, when you're teaching the content, you need to answer that insecurity. And number three is basically their excuses. It's like, okay, so this works and this works, but here's why it still won't work. Okay, so you need to think about like really what those excuses are, and again, answer that. And that's when you're no longer teaching for the sake of teaching. You're teaching by strategically answering. Okay, I think we lagged a little bit there, but I'm back here.
Okay, perfect. You're here again. Okay. So let's talk about Stack. Which is your favorite?
Okay, put it this way. Here's the gist of it. Obviously, would be like an entirely much longer conversation, but here's the gist of creating a great offer and a great stack. Okay, so for those of you that's on the call or watching the replay that don't know what a stack is, it's basically how do you make an offer? And an offer, a great offer, is accumulation of many things. And the many things is summarized into three things. Okay, it's do it yourself, done with you, and done for you. And we need to just recognize and understand that do it yourself, which is like a book, okay, has got the lowest perceived value. Why? Because a person can buy my book, Platform Closing, you can put it on a shelf, do nothing with it, have it collect dust, but it's on them because it's do it yourself. Yeah. Now, if you really think about it, that's how most marketers market their stuff. Most marketers are competing at the do it yourself level without realizing that, number one, that's most competitive, and number two, it actually has the least perceived value. So if you're going to start charging more for your products, programs, and services, think about how can you turn it into done with you and done for you. Now, when I say done for you, it doesn't necessarily mean that it takes up your time. It doesn't mean that you have to go to that person and say, let me do it for you, even though it could be, right? Done for you could be just thinking about how can you accumulate the resources, the swipe files, the templates that you personally use that you can give to them so that they can immediately use and deploy instantly, or just at least fill in the blanks and use those templates and do it straight away. So what makes a great stack is think about how can you position and give them more done with you and done for you, and that will significantly increase the value of what it is that you have to offer.
Okay, perfect. So the last one, the close. So we have summarized all the platform closing in 5 minutes.
That's right.
So the closing, what do you think? What do you want to share with us?
What I want to share with you guys is that the close is actually the least important of them all. I can tell you right now that I've been to many events where I've not announced the price. I've not announced what the close is. All I said was, this is what I'm offering. This is the total value. and people are already going to the back tables wanting to invest in it, whatever it is I have to offer, because I did the first three parts well. So many times when speakers come up to me saying, Peng Joon, like, how does your close work? Can you teach me your close? I know that they didn't get it, because a close and a good close is never about the close, because your entire presentation is actually a close. And I actually, like, it's somewhere in my book, but one of the things I mentioned in this book is recognizing that this whole presentation, your entire webinar, your entire Facebook Live, your entire live event, it's actually a close. You're closing them on a sale by strategically answering their objections, which in fact is actually serving them at the highest level. Many times people don't understand. It's like, oh, but that seems very bad of me if I don't teach, and if I don't show them the steps and the how, and I'm just answering objections. Isn't that like bad? Isn't that manipulative? And I tell them, like, no, here's why. In 60 minutes, in 90 minutes, you can't change somebody's life. I can't change somebody's life on this 30-minute Facebook Live. I just can't. No matter how good you are, you can't change somebody's life in 30, 60, or 90 minutes. What you can do is motivate and inspire them so that they invest in what it is that you have to offer, so that that thing can change their life. That's possible in your event, in your course, in whatever, in your service. Then it's possible. Therefore, you need to understand that it would be in your moral obligation to do whatever it takes to sell them your product. So obviously your product has got to be so good that it changes somebody's life, that it helps them make more money, or it saves them time, or it helps them become happier, more productive, become more effective, more efficient, more confident. So take your pick, right, in terms of the results. But it's understanding that the close is not about the close. Yes, there's a few different things you want to cover, which I talk about in the book, but understanding that the close is not the most important piece, even though many times people think it is. It's not.
Okay. So Peng, last question. Do you want to share with us the secret of your success until now?
I think that many times people think that there's a secret, but I think that the things that I will say are just the timeless things we've heard over and over and over again. That's going to sound really cheesy. Things like not giving up. And you probably heard my story. I shared that in funnel hacking. But it's just, and I know that the problem when I say that is people sounds like, oh, that's just basic. Everybody knows that. But yeah, that's what it was. I just never gave up despite the failures. And I think that the differentiator is that I see failures very differently from how most people see failures. Like in every single thing that I've done, whether it's building websites, what many people don't see is they don't see the 80% of offers and websites that I built in my earlier days that failed, that totally tanked, that nobody saw, right? So to me, whenever I created something that failed, to me, that's part of the process. It's just understanding, like, if you take a look at every single person that has ever done well, that has made an impact in the world, you'll realize that failure is unavoidable. It's part of the journey. But the problem is with people's mindset, most people anyway, is whenever they see a failure, like, that's not supposed to happen. No, it is supposed to happen. You take a look at every single person that's done well, changed lives, made an impact, made a difference. Everybody fails. The question is, how fast can you get up and continue with enthusiasm and pick yourself up? And again, stuff we hear of all the time, but these are just things that if we really implemented it and incorporated it as part of our lives, it makes all the difference.
Yeah, sure. Failure could be overwhelming, or could be the best chance of second chance of your life, right?
That's right.
So I have a guy, Fabrizio. The book is or content. You can see it, or this one, content multiplier for, or platform closing. But I will give you the link later, or in the comment. And then there are some people from Italy that, for example, Pierre was is in the Tucoma Club too. He was in Orlando with us. Other people that say hello to Peng. Okay. Okay, some people that already bought your book. So Christian, hi, Peng. A lot of people say hello from Italy because right now we are in Italy.
All right. Hey, guys.
So thank you so much, Peng, for the interview. I know that you are really busy. You have a webinar later or before. I don't know. You are really busy. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, your insights. I will start from tomorrow with this one, and then I will send you all the success with this new formula. So thank you so much, Peng Joon.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. See you on the next interview. Bye from now. Bye-bye.
All right. Ciao.
Ciao. Bye.